Welcome to Patrick Talks Teaching. I'm Patrick. I'm one of those people who's way too much going on in their head at night when trying to fall asleep, so I figured, why not make a video and help get some ideas out there. My passions, when it comes to teaching, focus on inclusion, engagement, UDL, and all aspects of making teaching accessible to every child. For this first video, I thought, why not discuss the theme of programming in schools? Every child we teach requires appropriate programming for them to be successful, and there are several types of programming that exist that need to be in place to help meet the needs of these children. Given that my brain loves analogies and likes to think in pictures, I decided to create an analogy to represent various types of programming that exist, and for this one, let's look at a map of Canada. The first type of programming we need to consider is called regular programming. This type of programming encompasses the majority of the students we teach. Regular programming means students are following the regular curriculum, which is represented here by the map of Canada. Now, as we know, a curriculum is made up of many learning outcomes, which will be represented by the various provinces and territories. In fact, most curricula include a ridiculously large number of these learning outcomes, but I figured there is value in grouping these outcomes together and generating what will become big ideas. These big ideas are the individual provinces and territories. And for regular programming, students will explore and develop an understanding of these big ideas. In reference to our map, 13 provinces and territories is not an overwhelming amount. Now, no two students will ever demonstrate the same level of understanding for every outcome. This is why we assign grades, which are as diverse as the students we teach. Once a course is complete, students have added all the pieces of the puzzle together and we end up with a completed map of Canada. Now, sometimes students require what are called adaptations. These adaptations are meant to help a child put the pieces of this map together. Perhaps a child needs somebody to guide their hand in order to place a piece. Perhaps a scribe will write down their thoughts and ideas as they explain their learning verbally. But in the end, we still have the same completed map where every big idea, every province and territory is included and assessed. Thus, adaptations do not change the big picture. They only help the child to learn and to demonstrate their understanding. Another type of programming exists for students who are learning the English language. Depending on a child's level of understanding of English, they might receive an E designation. What this means is that the child's learning focuses on building vocabulary and developing communication skills. Up to 50% or more of the learning outcomes are rewritten to reflect these goals. Curricular expectations can be substituted to accommodate the needs of EAL students. In terms of our map, we are still looking at the country of Canada, but this time we're going to select only a few of the provinces or territories to place. Or perhaps they have less detail. This means that there will be outcomes that the child might not necessarily explore in as much detail. This is one of 2 times where educators can adjust the outcomes from a child's programming, and that's okay. This programming assumes that the child is prerequisite learning in their native language. Copious amounts of words need to be removed from assignments and assessments. Providing information and pictures, or focusing on numerical math and science problems, will help the child to be successful and focus on the key vocabulary. The final type of programming to consider is modified programming, which is for students with a significant cognitive disability. For students with this type of programming, designated with the letter M, the curricular outcomes are challenging for the child to access. We can approach modified programming in at least 2 ways. The first would be similar to E-programming. Teachers can select specific learning outcomes from grade-level curricula and assist the child as they develop an understanding of those outcomes and vocabulary. At the end of the course, our map of Canada is complete for the child, but it does look a bit different. The other option is to find equivalent or similar outcomes from an earlier grade level. This is no different than looking at a map of Canada from, say, the 1920s before Newfoundland joined. Or even, for that matter, a map from the 1870s, where we are still considering Canada, but just an earlier version. We are simply finding big ideas from earlier grade level outcomes that can be directly connected to the original grade level outcomes and that are appropriate for the child's abilities. Adaptations, E-programming, and modified programming are not meant to overwhelm the teacher. Through collaboration with student support teachers, all students in the classroom can be programmed for effectively. This provides a nice point at which to pause and reflect on the importance of keeping the goal the same, but altering some pieces or how the pieces are put together.